The Wen nerf definitely hurt Raksha for kill per hour farming for a little bit, and while I did put out a video on the Grandmaster timer, that was not a consistent rotation in order to get back to where we were before the Wen nerf, and now there is a fully fleshed out rotation for Raksha that I believe gets almost 35 kills per hour, and today I'm going to be doing a guide on just that. So jumping right in, the preset from previous iterations hasn't changed a whole lot. Going over the inventory, I have my rune pouches. They are the standard setup that I've always had. Nothing changes here. It's just so I can spellbook swap to Disrupt Shield as needed while staying on the ancient spellbook for Insight Fear. The food I use is Super Guthix Brews and the Blue Blubber Jellyfish. I do carry a couple of portents just to help fill out the preset. The EOFs I'll be using are a Zami bow, a Serengod bow, an Eldritch crossbow, and a dark bow. If you wanted to skip one of these EOFs, you could probably skip the Z bow. It is just kind of nice for doing some improv rotations at the end of B4. Expensive spices just boost the blue blubber eats a little bit. Vuln bombs are pretty self-explanatory. That 10% damage will very much come in handy. Vitpot is a nice backup for the rock falls on the phase transitions of phase 1 and 2 and phase 2 and 3. Not 100% needed if you're good at dodging the rocks, but for learning this method, definitely recommend bringing one. I keep all of my arrows in separate quivers. In this one we have Death Sport arrow, we have full arrows, and we have Wen arrows. I do bring an overload in the preset just in case I happen to run out midway through a kill. It allows me to just bank quickly and not have to worry about drinking an overload at the bank. I will be using the full 5-piece Elite Dracolich set. You don't need Slayer perks or Genocidal or anything like that on this gear setup for Raksha. This is just leftover from Vorkath farming. Grim is very nice for the crit chance. I have seen people bring swaps for Scripture of Jazz or I believe Scripture of Full, but I just Grim camp and keep it simple. The FSOA is just to bring in a Tsunami with us to help out with the rotation. Stalker's Ring on average is better than Reaver's Ring because you're only sacrificing 1% crit chance to get 3% crit damage, and with the rapid fire effect that Elite Dracolich has, crits are not too difficult to come by. And then the Zuck Cape will round everything off here. It's mostly here for the stats as we don't really use Deadshot in this rotation. Now, as far as the current rotation goes, I first learned about this by watching Arcana do some Raksha attempts. I believe he was either going for Grandmaster time or he was just farming out some kills there. I then took a look at the rotation that Glotz wrote out, and then here the one that's on screen is from the PVME, and I pretty much use this P4 as I found it to work out the best for me. I'll leave all the links in the description below to the respective people that I mentioned. And the only real difference here in rotation from the old method to the new method is we are using a Natural Instinct in our pre-build in order to help us get out 2 dark bows in phase 1, as Snapshot into dark bow is no longer consistent in getting us into phase 2 as early as we want. And on going into phase 3 on this last part of the Death Swiftness, I do vary here a little bit. I usually just hit SGB into a Snap dark bow and a Gricko because sometimes for whatever reason, I'm sure it's just user error, but I sometimes get an extra auto attack from Raksha while doing my rapid, and if I hit dark bow, it will get nulled by the soft cap. So I switch over to doing SGB first just because it hits a tick later, and I've had no problem with this rotation clearing out the HP as normal. So if for some reason you're finding what I'm going to be showing you today in the example kills not exactly working out, feel free to move the abilities around or follow the PVME rotation verbatim. And as for relics, I'm going to be running Zerk Fury, Fonta Life, and Heightened Senses. This seems to have worked out pretty nicely for me. I like the damage from Zerk Fury. If you want to run Death Ward and Fots, I don't think that's going to cause too many issues and is something you could consider, but this has been working fine for me so far. But anyways, I have rambled on long enough. Let's go ahead and get geared up and do an example kill. Alrighty, we are loaded up and ready to go for an example kill. I will be using Majorat Aura, and I would recommend go ahead and activating Darkness because I have noticed some inconsistencies at this boss when prayer flicking for every single hit. I don't know if that's the only cause of inconsistency that I've had when testing, but it is one that I noticed. But that is enough rambling. Let's go ahead and get into this example kill. I'm gonna have the arrow type that I I am using at the time here in the corner. I will also try and call it when I am when sporing an ability, but let's just go ahead and get this example out of the way. Go ahead and install Nami and gain some adrenaline here. Crystal, enter the security gate, start, dive over to this tile, drop our dummy, release our stall with a natty into a G-conk, Greco into a dazing shot, hit a couple of ticks, surge with a DS, hit freedom, ECB, target cycle, smoke cloud with a Greco, and a Vuln bomb into a rapid fire. Hit a bulk spec and double dark bow here. One spore a Greco, tendrils, MDS or greater dazing shot, incendiary, ECB into a dark bow, Greco into a rapid fire, hit an SGB into a snap, dark bow into a Greco, and equip our staff. If you want to hit a corrupt blast, go ahead. Sometimes you won't get it off, but it doesn't really matter too much. Go ahead and G-conk into a Nami, Wenspore the piercing shot, bulk spec, piercing shot, Wenspore this Greco, and another piercing shot. Go ahead and hit DS, ECB, rapid fire, wait for 2.4, put on our Wen arrows, dark bow, SGB, dark bow into a Greco, dark bow, and another dark bow. It did die there. Sometimes that will happen where you get the spec, and what I was trying to say there before I got interrupted by the keeper here is sometimes you will kill Raksha at the same tick that that attack is going to happen, and the kill will still go through, but sometimes you think you have to do the shield. But if Raksha's HP goes to 0, it goes to 0, and that's all there is to it. But that is all I have for you today. If you have any questions, feel free to leave it in the comments below. I am trying a little bit shorter and more to the point style of guides here, so if you like this format, feel free to let me know in the comments below. If you like the other style of guides that are very ramble focused and I explain every single little detail about things that I am bringing and thought processes behind them, let me know down in the comments below. But I am going to call the video here. Thank you very much for watching. Your viewership is greatly appreciated. Have a wonderful morning, evening, afternoon, nighttime, whatever it is, wherever you are, and I will see y'all next time for the next guide. Peace.